If the soul is real, then what makes one higher or lower? What separates a human soul from that of an animal, or even a god? It's a bold question, even audacious at first glance. But perhaps it's precisely these questions that help us break free from tired old patterns of thought. Because have you ever paused to wonder, if the soul truly exists, why is yours human? Why not a whale, an eagle, or a being that lives in a realm your eyes could never see? For thousands of years, humans have believed in the soul, not just because of religion, but because of something deeper, intuitive, and nameless. That when this body decays, something still remains. And perhaps the soul is not a singular concept. In a universe where everything vibrates, from sound and light to the oscillation of atoms, the soul, too, may be just another form of energy, but energy that carries consciousness. If that's true, then not all souls are the same. Not all energy vibrates at the same frequency. The higher the frequency, the closer it is to light. The lower the frequency, the closer it is to instinct, to darkness, to density. So what we call lower souls may be forms of consciousness still bound tightly to primal urges, to survival, to fear, to control. Souls still caught in loops of anger, envy, domination, and pain. And higher souls, they are beings who have passed through many classrooms of spiritual evolution. Souls no longer trapped in the illusion of separateness. Souls whose actions no longer come from fear, but from love, from compassion, and from a profound understanding of how the universe works. We, as humans, may exist somewhere between those two realms, capable of light but still drawn to shadow, able to love but also to destroy, capable of selflessness and yet vulnerable to ego. And maybe that's what makes the human experience so strangely precious. But what about the souls of animals? Many spiritual traditions believe that all living beings carry a soul. Their frequencies may be different, perhaps lower, but that doesn't mean they lack feeling, awareness, or presence. They are not lesser. They are simply on a different path, a different classroom. They don't speak like we do, but they feel in ways we've long forgotten. They touch with intuition, react with pure emotion, respond without calculation, but with truth. If you've ever held a dog when your heart was breaking, you already know what I mean. And what of the highest souls? The ones religions call deities, gods, or enlightened beings? Are they just human projections? Or could they be consciousness so advanced, so luminous, that it has moved beyond what humanity can yet comprehend? As science peers deeper into the quantum world, we're discovering something astonishing. Consciousness affects reality. The observer is no longer outside the system, but part of its outcome. So perhaps, a consciousness so pure, so free from attachment, so untouched by greed or fear, would no longer be bound by space and time. Maybe that is what ancient civilizations meant when they spoke of gods. Not bearded old men in the sky, but the highest frequencies in the universe, present everywhere, connected to everything. And if that's true, then every soul, yours, mine, even the sparrow outside your window, is on a long journey of evolution toward that light. But then, why don't we remember? Why can't we recall who we were, what we learned, who we loved, or what mistakes we made? Could forgetfulness be part of the rules? And if we did remember, would the lessons still hold any meaning? If your soul truly existed before you were born, then perhaps this forgetting wasn't a flaw in the system. It was part of the design. Imagine walking into a classroom already knowing all the answers, remembering every lesson from past semesters. Would there still be anything left to learn? Maybe. Forgetting is what makes the experience real. And maybe that's when choice begins to matter. If you were once a powerful king, but this time returned as someone poor and invisible, could you still feel compassion for those at the bottom? If you had once been betrayed, would you now learn how to forgive? If you had once caused pain, would you now dare to love with your whole heart? And if the soul continues through many lives and many forms, then isn't each lifetime, each birth, just another chance to try the same lesson in a different body? From the shape of a wild creature to the upright posture of a human being, from tiny, everyday choices to those rare, fateful decisions that shape entire lives, each is a door that leads us to a new vibration, a new frequency of being. But if souls really exist in different levels or stages, are they separated by some invisible fence? Can a higher soul truly understand a lower one? Or does that evolution risk losing its empathy? The paradox is this: the more evolved, the more luminous a soul becomes, the more compassionate it is, the more humble, the less it sees itself as above anyone else. That's why the highest souls often choose to lower their vibration, to remain here, to help guide the ones still lost. A newborn baby, eyes clear and untouched by the dust of this world, maybe a soul that's lived 1,000 lives and returned one more time, just to hold a parent's hand. And so, maybe the line between a low soul and a high one, between human and divine, doesn't lie in appearance or supernatural ability, but in how deeply the soul understands love. Love, not as a fleeting emotion, not as ownership, not as expectation, but as the ability to see yourself in another. The higher the soul, the more that line between me and you begins to blur. Judgment fades, anger softens, fear dissolves. And if the soul is truly energy, then love might just be the highest frequency in the universe, the only one that travels across space and time without ever needing to be explained. But even if all of this is just a story, just a thought experiment to help us understand ourselves better, then the final question remains: if there really is a soul living inside you, what will you do with it? Will you go on living as if you are only this body, this one life? Or will you begin to look deeper, to love more fully, to forgive more easily? Because maybe you and the person standing in front of you are just two versions of the same soul learning the same lesson again. There may never be a map. No one will hand you a certificate telling you where your soul is or what level you're on. But if each day you choose to live with just a bit more awareness, to be a little softer toward what you don't yet understand, then maybe you've already touched a piece of the truth. Thank you for staying with me all the way to the very end. If what you just heard made you pause, made you reflect, even just a little, on yourself and this strange, beautiful world we live in, then maybe, just maybe, we've connected in a space beyond words. If you'd like to keep walking with me through questions that have no answers, into depths no one's fully mapped, and toward small flickers of light hidden in the most uncertain places, then please consider subscribing to this channel. Because who knows? The next video might be the gentle reminder you've been needing. We'll meet again soon.